you're a new product in a lot of these conversations. That must have been a slightly newer experience for you in that way. And obviously being on the actual kind of like founder side of it all, was there a lot of initial pushback on that? Was there a lot of like, it's not for us, it's not one of ours?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I look back at the first year, it's actually quite laughable. So I was the sales team, it was just me.
Yeah.
And
powerful sales team.
I was lucky that I knew my stuff, I knew the channels, I knew where to go, I knew where this product should be. I knew I had a good, strong sales strategy, and I went out there and I did my thing. And my thing is just to contact a lot of people and kind of throw stuff at the wall and see where it sticks, but in a strategic way.
Yeah.
And my goodness, the response was, no, we're not ready for wine in cans. This country's not ready for wine in cans. This was tried 15 years ago and this didn't work.
Really?
People won't like this. No. And it was so many no's. And obviously you still get more no's today than you do yeses. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of no's. And luckily, because I am a resilient person, and when someone says no, I just take it as a challenge. I kept hunting. I kept hunting to find the people that wanted to give the product a chance and believed in it and were focused on sustainability or saw this as the future of wine. I kept going, and I managed to find those sort of positive, case studies. So our first few customers were sort of the likes of Sainsbury's, the likes of Ocado, the likes of some really good travel sites. And then from there, you can really start to build the numbers, build the case study, and then go out to more people. But being honest, the real sort of turning point for our business was COVID. So obviously, when the world opened up again after COVID, after however many, lockdowns we had, it was all about going to the park, drinks in the park, grabbing a sort of ready to drink something from the pub and going to the park. And that's when it just became the norm. And suddenly everyone was interested in wine in cans. Yeah. Sustainability became more of a focus, getting rid of single-use plastic. So that's when all of the hard work I'd put into all of the people saying no, I started to go back to them and they started to be interested.
Were there any of the no's in the early days that kind of worried you? Someone saying no and you're like, oh, if they don't want it, maybe that's something we need to think about.
Probably, but I just then hunted somewhere else. I think you can't get... We've still been trying to win customers for 5 years. And we thought we'd won one this year and they're like, no, guys, sorry, it's still not for us. And you can't get too hung up on that. You have to go and hunt and find somewhere else until that person's ready.
But I guess with that, you've got so many kind of supermarkets in the UK, right? So we talk about that kind of avenue.
Yeah.
If a couple of the big ones go no.
Yeah, which they did to us.
But do you not then go, well, if they're never going to take us? Because I guess what you're saying is you can't take a no forever. Yeah. Right? So like it's no now, but like let's go back. Let's keep building and go back. Is that the mentality you guys have?
Yeah, and no is not no forever. It's just no for now. And actually the grocery supermarket example is a really interesting one. So we launched in Sainsbury's on day one, and then sort of full transparency, we've really struggled with the other grocers. And if we'd been the sort of business that thought, oh God, they're not saying yes to us, and we'd sort of just kept going back to them and not exploring other channels, we wouldn't be in the position we are today. I think them saying no to us was one of the biggest blessings in disguise, because we were forced to go and find revenue elsewhere, and we were forced to build all of these other incredible channels. They then see you in all these great channels, and we've actually got 3 new major grocers coming on board in 4 weeks' time.
Congrats.
And it's taken us 5 years to get there.
Really?
But we can now go to them and say, we've got all of these great data points and stats around all of the distribution we're doing outside of the major grocers, which is massive brand building. So now we're in a position where I'm actually glad we didn't launch with them back then. The brand is in a much stronger position to be set up for success now.
And is that what's changed in those 5 years? Is it the size of the brand and the proof? Is that really what's got you to where those conversations are now?
Yes, I would definitely say so.
I mean, it is just resilience, isn't it? Massively with some of these brands. I mean, 5 years is a crazy amount of time. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about some of like the sales things I've done, and nothing's lasted more than like 2 years.
It's
like 5 years is a long time.
Yeah, and it's also you've got to get the balance right of persistence versus pissing off. So again, in my consulting days, and I'm sure this still goes on a lot now, you just see the brand owners just constantly going back too many times and saying, here's an update, here's our time right. And you will get to the point where they will just get pissed off with you. It's a science as to when you contact them, what you say, how you contact them. You've just got to get that right, because in my time, I've sometimes got that wrong. And I had one buyer say to me, "You are the most annoying person I've ever met. Don't ever contact me again." But generally, on the whole, I feel like now and I don't always get it right, but most of the time I've got it down to quite a good science, and actually they can see I call it patient persistence, and they can sort of see the patient persistence, and you just keep chipping away, and it will then eventually fall over.
Happen.